Hello everybody, welcome back to another Borderlands 2 unofficial community patch video. Today we're going to be looking at a Rough Rider and Legendary Pointman Axton build, which I believe to be very interesting and pretty unique. There's not really a lot of content out there like this. I think I've maybe seen one video and it was years ago that had something like this. But yeah, I figured it'd be really unique and an interesting way to approach Axon. So before we get into the skills and the gear, obviously the two most important parts is the Rough Rider and the Legendary Pointman, and we'll get into why later. Let's take a look at changes to the Pointman. Okay, so Pointman gives max regen and health, just like it does on the vanilla game. However, the skills that it buffs has been changed. It gives Crisis Management, Grit, Forbearance, Able, and Healthy. This is what it used to give. Pressure, Grit, Last Ditch Effort, Able, and Healthy. So some small changes, but if we also switch over here to the UCP changes, we see something interesting. Crisis Management, replace melee damage with damage reduction, 6% per point. This is huge for what we're doing. That's going to get us some serious damage reduction. Okay, there's a lot of other nice buffs here, but the main ones we want to look at is Crisis Management. Forbearance is another one, more damage reduction, and we get status effect reduction. And then Last Ditch Effort is another pretty nice one for this build because we're not going to be taking any shield skills. I think that should be rather obvious why. So yeah, those are the main ones. You can kind of look at these at your own leisure if you want, but that's the main ones that I think are impactful for this build. So going back, the gear is pretty much whatever you want to use. I think a Moxxi weapon sort of helps, so you can just you'll see it within the gameplay. You can pretty much just face tank, especially with the Moxxi weapon. But yeah, so using the Slaga, Kitten, Unicorn Explosion, and the Creamer, all good weapons. There's a bunch of other stuff here that are all viable Axton choices. And of course, different Bone of the Ancients and all that good stuff. But yeah, and then the Grenade is also circumstantial. He's very good with a lot of different ones. So yeah, just kind of pick and choose how you'd like. And yeah, Rough Rider, Legendary Pointman, Antifaction, Bone of the Ancients. Excuse me. So the reason we're using the Rough Rider is because we get 20% damage reduction and a bunch of max health. And in combination with this Legendary Pointman and the new changes to the skills, we can basically stack a bunch of damage reduction and have it also a crazy amount of health. So let's go ahead and get into the skill tree and see how this ends up looking. All right, we'll start over here on the right. Preparation is useless. We're not using a shield that has capacity, so healthy is the only choice that makes any sense, and it's a pretty substantial amount of max health. Now, last ditch effort or pressure. Now, pressure, obviously the shield recharge delay isn't going to help us. The reload speed is definitely not a bad choice, so you still actually could take this one. But I think we're going to go with last ditch effort. Playing so aggressive, we're likely to go down more often than not. So having a significant amount more of damage, fight for your lifetime, and movement speed while we're down is going to come in handy more than once, for sure. Then we'll take the Phalanx Shield, just nice utility for the turrets. Shield capacity doesn't matter. This skill is obviously another skip, no shield skills. And we'll go ahead and take Forbearance. It's also boosted by our comm. And here is where it begins. So we max this, we get 20% damage reduction on top of the Rough Rider's 20%. And this is already a nice start. This is already going to tank us up a lot. And then here is the main change that they made. Crisis Management now gives gun damage and damage reduction. And I believe it used to be melee damage is what it said. So while your shields are depleted, that's the key part here. So by maxing this, we now have 70% gun damage all the time and 60% damage reduction all the time on top of this all the time and the Rough Riders 20% all the time. Now, obviously, these things aren't additive. I believe they are multiplicative bonuses, which means essentially that if they were additive and we added it up to 100%, we obviously wouldn't take damage, right? So they're multiplicative. It doesn't work like that. You don't literally take no damage. That would be kind of cheesy, but you definitely take significantly less damage than normal. And then we're going to go ahead and take Maglock. You don't have to get these, but I really like these skills for the turret. They give it so much more flexibility on your placement, and they draw a lot of aggro for you. And we'll go ahead and finish up with Grit. You don't have to max this if you don't want to, but the 40% chance of ignoring death on killing blows and regaining that health is super good. So, especially on a build that's built around face taking. So yeah, just from this tree, this is where our survivability comes from. We're going to be super tanky, and we're going to get some pretty good damage. Crisis management, that's significant. Okay, so we'll go ahead and move to the middle tree now. Actually, I take that back. We're going to go over here and do green, because we're going to finish off here. We want to get down to double up to get the slag turret and the double guns in conjunction with the double turrets, which also gives us some fire rate and shots per burst. So let's go ahead and get sentry, longer turret duration and more damage. And then both willing is normally a good skill, but useless with this. I think that's obvious why. Laser sight is okay, not really necessary. Reload speed, definitely, we like that. Then we'll take Scorched Earth for more explosive damage for us, also increasing our turret's DPS. We're going to take Onslaught because it's an amazing kill skill that really buffs up our damage. And then we'll take a value point in Able since it is boosted by our comm, but this is a good skill regardless. It's really, really nice survivability skill. Every time you damage someone, you regenerate health. Not bad. And then what we'll do is we'll start grabbing some Grenadier. Get that grenade capacity up, and we'll go ahead and max it. 5 more grenades and 15% grenade damage is very, very nice on a hero that is super good with grenades. And then we'll throw a few points into the cooldown rate and grab that double turret. Cool. Now moving on. These two are pretty debatable. If you want impact, take it. I just kind of prefer expertise. Damage I don't think is really going to be an issue for us, so weapon swap speed, aim speed, movement speed is really cool. I like that. And in conjunction with all these other movement speed skills we have, we're actually going to be fast as hell. So then we're going to take Metal Storm because it's an amazing kill skill, fire rate and recoil reduction, huge DPS bonus. Then we will take Longbow Turret, more health and more flexibility of our placement. And then Steady. Yeah, we'll go ahead and max it. Just awesome buffs to the guns that Axton loves using. Grab the value point, do or die. Throwing grenades and fight for your life is great, and also just a flat damage buff to grenades and rocket launchers, awesome. And then we will finish off with our last few points into Battlefront, because we obviously Axton plays around his turrets a lot, and that's a very nice damage buff. So yeah, that's pretty much the build. It's a pretty fun one, pretty unique one. And yeah, I think we'll just go ahead and cut it over to the gameplay.